if you're an accounting firm owner or you're a part of a BD team at an accounting firm and you're looking for a way to grow beyond referrals, then this is the video for you. I'm going to walk you through the exact system firms should be using to grow reliably, predictably in today's age without having to rely on referrals. If we have yet to meet before, my name's Katie Thomas. I'm a CPA, and having worked with firms and helping them grow for almost a decade now, one thing we see consistently across the board, whether we're working with firms in the top 100 or firms that just have one or two partners, is traditionally they have grown through word of mouth, through referrals. And referrals are great. They are something that you should not discount from your growth plan, but you also want a way that you can grow and have some sort of predictability to that growth. Because as you know, and I know, referrals aren't predictable. You might get a lot one month, and then the next month you could get zero. So what I'm going to show you in this video is a way that you can predictably grow and not have to rely on referrals. If that sounds interesting to you, then be sure to stick around for the entire video. And with that, let's go ahead and just jump right on in. Now, the first thing you need to do is to define your audience. And when I say that, what a lot of firms do is they go, okay, we work with business owners that are between 1 and 20 million. Most firms we work with are operating virtually. So they'll say they can be anywhere in the US. And I've got my ideal client. I've got my audience defined. Unfortunately, you don't, because what that is doing is causing really two issues. One is for the person that you're targeting, that doesn't speak to them. That doesn't catch their attention. You can't really speak in their exact language, use their phrases, talk about things that really resonate to them. Just business owners in general, it's not specific enough. Same goes for niching down to service providers. Ask yourself, have you ever identified as a service provider? No, you likely identify as people calling you an accountant. That's way more specific. If someone says like, hey, this is information for service providers, probably going to not pull you in as much as like, hey, this is exactly for accountants. I mean, how did you find this video? Why are you watching this video? Because you're an accountant. Now, on the flip side of things, the other reason why you need to get specific is not just so that your marketing aligns with who you're trying to target, but so that you have focus. If you're trying to target all the business owners that are between 1 and 20 million, that gives you nowhere to focus. You don't know what to talk about exactly on social media. You don't know the people to be adding. You don't know the conferences that you should be attending. You don't know the podcast you should be getting on. You don't have a specific target for you to focus on. Now, this doesn't mean that once you pick your audience that you can't work with people outside of it. I want you to think about this like a marketing niche. If you want to totally exclude everyone outside of that marketing niche and who you work with, that's fine, but that's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is let's give us a target for one, us to market to, and two, for people to be attracted to. If you're doing good work and you want your business to expand into other niches, you can always look at that later. And for 99% of our clients, they still get inquiries from people outside of their niche just by association of being an accountant. I can speak for this myself. I still get inbound leads for people asking if I can do accounting services, even though I don't talk about that in my content. So you need to first define your audience, and then we can move into step 2 of the process. Step 2 is all about building visibility through thought leadership. Now, getting someone to be your client is a lot different than selling someone a pair of shoes. As an accountant, you are likely their only accountant. And so for someone to work with you, you either have to, one, catch them at the right time when they don't have an accountant already, or two, be willing to switch. And to be willing to switch, they either have to be frustrated by their existing accountant so bad that they're willing to take that leap and switch, or two, you have to show that there is so much more value to working with you that it's worth that switch. This is where having that thought leadership to really show that gap between what you do and what other people do, that's where this comes into play. You need to be showing up at all the right places to make someone see, hey, it actually makes sense for me to either switch working with my existing accountant and go to you, or two, start working with an accountant altogether. And so building your thought leadership looks like you are posting on the right social media platforms. And alongside that, you are building your network and your community on those platforms. You are getting on podcasts, you are attending conferences, you are creating your own content, whether that's like a newsletter or you have a podcast. You are building thought leadership, because the reality is you are essentially fighting to be that one person that they pick and they choose. So how are they going to know that they're picking the right person? Well, you have to make that clear. One other thing I want to talk about here is what you are providing is such a high trust service. If you think it's realistic for you to send one cold message to someone completely random and convince them that you are the obvious choice for them to trust all their financial information and a large part of their financial future to, you are crazy. Yeah, you're crazy, right? And somewhere along the way, marketers have tried to convince people that sending one message is basically like, hey, this can work. Think about it. Would you turn over all your financials and trust to someone that sent you one message one time that has no brand recognition? Probably not. But if you see that person over and over again, if you understand how they think, the transformations they've got, you see client testimonials, now you're like, okay, this person's the real deal. They are legit. They can help me get from point A to point B to point C, D, and so forth. And once you understand this and you're watching this, you're probably like, yeah, of course that makes sense. That's why you have to be the thought leader. You have to be the clear, obvious choice. You're not just some random person. You're the clear, obvious choice. Now that we are the clear, obvious choice, there has to be a way that we can capture someone's information. A lot of times firms at this point have some sort of capture form on their website, whether that is simply just a form that people fill out or a spot where someone can book a call, something along those lines. Now that's great and that is essential, but I also want you to think about, how can I capture someone's information if they're like, I want more of this, but I'm not quite ready to book a call. That's where creating a newsletter or something along those lines can be really, really great, so that now we can move to step 4, and that is to actually nurture those relationships through that exclusive content and also our other content. But first, through our exclusive content. So we want to be able to stay in touch with these people, whether or not social media or wherever they're watching us continues on. We have their information. We can nurture those relationships until they are ready to book a call. And then 2, we want to nurture those relationships also on these platforms. So we want to continue to show up. It's not about just showing up once or twice or for a month or even 6 months. No, this is a commitment. It's full time. And right now, social media is a great place to be. Where that attention of your prospects is in 3, 4, 5 years, I can't say, but you have to go where the attention is. And it's on social media, it's on podcasts, it's on YouTube, it's at conferences. You have to go there, and you have to continue to go there and continue to show up and continue to provide value so that you can continue to become and stay that clear, obvious choice. As an accountant, you're often so worried about getting the right tax software, the right bookkeeping software, the right practice management software, but you don't think about your CRM. In fact, so many firms I talk to, even large firms, they are, one, either managing their deals through a Excel spreadsheet, or 2, they have a CRM, but no one's really keeping it up to date. You need a CRM. Now, if you are just getting started and you're like, hey, I am using Excel, but I will get a CRM, okay, you have a pass. You can take a few months and then get your CRM. But if you've been in business for longer than a few months, get a CRM. Track your deals. Deals are falling off all the time simply because they just stalled and no one checked in. So get a CRM, track your deals through a pipeline. I could do a whole separate video on how to set this up, different automations you should have in there. Bottom line, get a CRM, and that way you don't lose deals that just stall, because the reality is those are in every business, every firm, and you're just leaking money whenever there are people out there that need your help. So help the people. Now, finally, is before every single call, I want you to make sure that you have given that prospect proper education to set yourself up for the call to go as well as possible. The truth is, when you are dealing with people and prospects that are not referrals, that is just a harder sale. They don't know you. They don't have that referral trust built in. So you have a lot of ground to make up compared to someone else that came in as a referral. Now, if you've been doing a good job with your content and your thought leadership, you've helped close that gap significantly. But let's still prepare and set ourselves up as well as we can. So what this looks like is before someone books a call, let's be really clear about our pricing, what services we offer, what it looks like to work with us. And then once they book a call, let's have emails going out educating them, saying like, hey, here's what you need to bring to a call. Here's what we expect of you. Here's what you can expect of us. All the common objections, let's get those included. So if they need other decision makers on the phone, let's make sure that they're aware of this. Hey, this person, they need to be on the call too. The more we can prepare and get the other person prepared, the better these calls are going to go. So that's the whole system from A to Z. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by giving it a thumbs up. Comment below any questions you have and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video, and I will catch you then. Bye now.